It's a beautiful Friday morning here at American Corner at Bogba, and you are welcome once again to another series, Living in the Digital World series. Depending on where you are joining us from, it could be morning, it could be afternoon, it could be evening, but we trust that you would have a beautiful time with us. And my name is Florence Tofa. I am the director of Mobile Web Ghana, and I will be your moderator for today's session. And as I mentioned, I am moderating from the American Corner at Bogba here at Mobile Web Ghana, and it's part of the American Spaces around the globe. And as we know, American Spaces provide access to current and reliable information about the United States. And we are doing this through book collection, internet access, events, and activities for everyone. Last time, we had a very interesting discussion about influence operations. And today, I'm excited that we are going to continue this and learn a more practical way of detecting and knowing more about influence operations. Today's discussion, we're going to talk about the tools for investigating influence operations, and facilitating this session again is Jonas Nyapo. He is a journalist and a coordinator of iJournal Africa. And I'm going to read a bit about Jonas for you to know that he's experienced in the field that he is working in. Jonas is a multimedia journalist, a fact checker, and new media trainer. His experience over the past 9 years has been in the area of radio broadcasting, digital news production, and new media communication. He is a fellow at Dubawa, Ghana, and is a coordinator for iJournal Africa, a new media and digital skills training organization. During this session, please feel free to type your questions in the comment box, and it will be picked up and discussed, and we would help our coordinator or facilitator today to answer all your questions. Stay tuned, and I hand over the session to Jonas. Jonas, take us over. Let's learn more about the tools that we can use to investigate influenced operations. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Florence. For this time, we are going to spend time to continue our discussion from the last time, talking about influence operations and the connection with disinformation campaigns, and this time tools that we can use to investigate. I'll just mention those tools that are very I mean, those are the simple things that you can essentially do on your own, not so sophisticated that you can do on your own operations. But first, I would want us to go over a bit of what we talked about the last time, just to recap. So I'll share my screen. I believe the screen is visible. So we said disinformation is and then influence operations are organized, often involving advertisers, activists, opportunists, and different actors to influence people's beliefs, people's decisions about a particular subject. So moving on, we talked about how some of these things started, and dating back to so many decades ago. So the goal for some of these things is to influence a country's internal processes, public debates, political systems through unofficial channels. So instead of maybe the regular channels that you know, maybe doing town hall meetings, doing regular advocacies on radio, in the media, mass media, trying to get people to understand an issue. We use very unofficial means, subtle, kind of subtle warfare to manipulate and deceive people into believing a particular information. And we said this can be from domestic or foreign sources. And so it can be from within the country or from other sources who may have an interest in what is going on in a country. So the goal is to shape reality, sometimes is to create mistrust for institutions and government, is to sow confusion, and to also sometimes defame individuals and organizations. There is actually a debate on whether or not there is something like a positive influence operation. That will be for a different discussion, but the focus of what we are talking about is in the instances where we find that whatever is being discussed or whatever is being pushed would have negative consequences on the population or on the country. So this slide essentially wanted to highlight the importance of platforms and the roles that platforms play. So you realize that because these platforms are growing, Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, if somebody wants to run a campaign, if somebody wants to push an agenda, the person would consider these platforms to push that particular campaign. So this is one of the important parts. So our discussion today would be looking at all these key actors will come into play in what we'll be talking about. So first, number one, I talked about the actors. I group them into these 6 group of people. They can be actors that are used to push disinformation campaigns or influence operations. So the first group of people, as I said, these are social media influencers. And the previous slide, I said that because these social media platforms are growing, there are a lot of people who have gained influence because they have large following. They are very influential on these platforms. And so whatever information they put out there is very much trusted, is so believed. And so they are a target for people who want to run campaigns, because when a social media influencer puts out a particular information, he's able to convince people, he's able to win people over to support whatever cause they are putting out there. So social media influencers are very important in this particular role. Either they are being targeted in this campaign, or they are actually recruited to be part of the campaign. I say they are targeted because sometimes if you don't want to pay these people, the influence of people involved in influence operation may decide to put out an information that resonates with the influencer. So if the influencer belongs to a particular political party, and I want to run a campaign that would back his or a political party, consistently post information that I know the influencer is biased towards. So it's very unlikely that the person would see that information and not retweet it or not share it on their personal pages, because that information resonates with them. They are biased towards the particular information you're putting out there. And so they'll most likely share it. And when they share it, the benefit that comes to your campaign is that it amplifies your campaign. There are hundreds of thousands of followers are able to see what they've posted, and then they are also recruited into it. The second group of people are media personalities and media organizations. In every country, just in Ghana, media personalities are influential. There are media personalities who are very influential, media organizations that are influential, and they are respected for their reputation of being credible, being maybe youth friendly, maybe being assertive. All these are qualities that different media personalities, different media organizations have. And so if somebody wants to run a campaign, they can target media personalities or media organizations, because when you target them, you most likely accept whatever you are putting out there. Or even when you approach them that you want them to share this information, because they agree with it, they are going to share it without even thinking whether the particular information you are sharing is true or false. They will most likely share it because per their biases, they agree with it. Celebrities, just like social media influencers, celebrities who maybe are celebrated because of their exploit in either fashion, movies, music. All these are different spheres of our social and economic lives where people play roles in and people are very influential in. And so campaigns can target these people either to share their message or to come on board for other campaigns that they are doing. An example in 2020 in 2020 in Nigeria, when a campaign targeted influencers, the influencer wasn't didn't influencers task force to do a giveaway. And you know what, of course, everybody loves freebies, everybody loves giveaways. And so the influencer's job, the celebrity's job was to post and say, post anything with this particular hashtag. And then when you post it with this hashtag, tag me in it. And then at the end of the day, the one who posted a lot with the hashtag, I'm going to reward you with $25. So that is enough incentive for people to jump on because they are following the celebrity. And I mean, of course, it's not a difficult job. If you are asked to post a hashtag, maybe I stand with Jonas, for instance, and as many times as you post it, if you're the one who posts the most, you are going to be rewarded with $25 at the end of the day. It looks like a cool job because I mean, one will say my social media platform is just there. I'm not using it for anything, and so it's a good way to make some very easy money. So that's one of the ways that celebrities can come in, how they are used for such campaigns. And then the last three, we talk about bots, which we'll be centering on a lot in our subsequent slides. Bots are automated accounts that can be used to amplify some of these campaigns. And bots are very important because bots, because they are automated, they are able to kind of quote and unquote achieve a lot more. They are, if we are to tweet, bot accounts are able to tweet so many because they are computerized. They are able to tweet maybe like 300 tweets a day, which would be very abnormal for a normal human account to make 300 tweets a day within very short intervals. So bot accounts can amplify that a lot. Also, they are very important for if we have social media influencers tweet the hashtags. With a click of a button, you can have maybe about 20 bots retweet the particular tweet at the same time. So that is one of the dangers or the things about bot accounts when it comes to disinformation campaigns or influence operations. Again, bot accounts are very important in the scheme of things. Sometimes the aim of disinformation campaigns or influence operations, the aim of those behind this is that we just want to be number one in the Twitter trends. And of course, if you are number one, it comes with a lot of unintended consequences. If you are number one, people who don't know anything about you will definitely come on board to read what your campaign is all about. People who just want clout will use your hashtag involuntarily. No, voluntarily anyway. They'll use your hashtag because they want a leverage, because they see that your hashtag is number one. Maybe like we have mobile web, hashtag mobile web Ghana is number one on Twitter today. Somebody who is selling sneakers and wants visibility for his sneakers will just tweet pictures of his sneakers and add hashtag mobile web Ghana, because he believes that because it's trending number one, if anybody visits that hashtag, my products will also show in it. So if the goal is to trend number one, it comes with some of these, should I say, benefits of people who don't even know about your campaign but still use your hashtag because it will amplify your campaign. And then we also have trolls. So trolls come in because they will typically in a situation where we are targeting a particular institution or a particular individual. So if there is a particular campaign against my person or my character as a journalist, because maybe I've done a story that somebody does not like, trolls can be used to post a lot of disinformation about me. So they can either use maybe I am against Jonas, a hashtag I am against Jonas, and then they are tweeting a lot, and then maybe trying to highlight maybe if maybe in the past I made a statement and now I've changed my mind. So they go bring that tweet, bring my latest tweet. So trolls do all kinds of things. The ultimate goal is to discredit you, the person or the institution. So especially if maybe there is a cause for a particular activity in Ghana and we have a for or against position. So should social media be banned in Ghana before the elections? If I am maybe against it and somebody is for it, and I am seen on a lot of media platforms and I'm talking about the reason why social media shouldn't be blacked out on election day, somebody can decide to hire trolls to troll me for various reasons because I am more like the face of a campaign against closing down social media during elections in Ghana. And then we also have fake accounts. The fake accounts are people who come out and are not exactly who they are. So an account will pose as if it's a Ghanaian behind it, but it's not a Ghanaian. So in the profile, maybe the person has the Ghana flag in his bio and says, I am a Ghanaian and I love Ghana. But this person is sitting somewhere in a different country and the person is just tweeting as if the person is Ghanaian. So sometimes you are able to see that the person is tweeting a lot about Ghanaians, maybe mentioning a lot of Ghanaians in his tweet, responding to a lot of Ghanaians, and things like that, just to kind of give the impression that he or she is a Ghanaian. But this person is actually outside Ghana, and the person wants a particular favor or a particular push, a particular campaign in Ghana. One of the ways to identify such account is that if you started, you realize that this account is a true and true, like from a different country, maybe tweeting in a different language, for instance, which isn't a Ghanaian language, for like a number of months. But when this particular issue about maybe whether or not to ban internet before Ghana's election came up, all of a sudden this particular account is tweeting a lot of Ghanaian things, tweeting Ghanaian music and things just to look like he or she is a Ghanaian. So these are the 6 main actors that I identified that play different roles in disinformation campaigns. So I labeled the first 3 as green and then the last 3 as in red, because I feel the last 3 somehow come out more dangerous or yeah, kind of more dangerous than the top 3. The top 3, these are easily identifiable humans behind it. Sorry, it's raining here, so if I sound like I'm shouting. So the top 3 are human accounts, so you can easily know that these are humans behind it. And so whatever sentiment they are putting out there is real and true, and you feel a human behind it. The last 3 are not genuine. They work a lot based on deception and based a lot on automation. So today I'll be looking at 3 important case studies that we can use to investigate or to look into influence operations or disinformation campaigns. And the disclaimer that I'll sound, and I'm sure I'll keep sounding, is that all these things, the results from some of these experiments that we'll be doing, the results would show us that maybe if you see ABC, these are red flags or these are indicators that this particular Facebook page or this particular Facebook group or this particular website or this particular Twitter account is false or is malicious. But it does not necessarily conclude that it is malicious unless you use different metrics. So as an investigator, like myself, before I set out to investigate some of these things, there are perimeters that I put down. So I decide that if I see A, B, C, D, then I can draw, based on that, I can draw my conclusion. But I will not draw a conclusion based on just looking at one factor. That is always important because sometimes you can easily get certain things wrong. And as we would see in the subsequent presentation, for instance, you see an account that is a bot, but for if you are very active on Twitter, you know that we have very good bots and we can have a bad bot. So if I put a particular account within a tool that I'll be introducing us to subsequently, and then the tool says that this particular account is 100% bot account, it does not necessarily mean it's a bad thing, because some bots are very useful. So for instance, there is a bot on Twitter that is a reminder, and I'm sure those who use Twitter a lot, you may have encountered such a bot account. There is also a bot account that that's when you see a video on Twitter and you want to save that video, if you mention the name of that bot account, it automatically gets you the URL of the video and put it in your inbox so you can easily download it. So those are good bot accounts that serve very good purposes. There is another bot, for instance, that also reminds us, the bot reminds us, I think every month or so, every day at say 12 noon, the bot gives a countdown to the end of the year. I don't know how useful that is, but it's just a reminder to tell you how many days to Christmas or how many days to the end of the year. So that is not a bad bot. So if you see that you cannot draw a conclusion based on just one metric and say this is a bad thing or this is a good one. Okay, so I said in the previous presentation, the common traits that you see is some of them very controversial comments. When it comes to websites, you may see very alien websites or strange websites, and some of the articles are very outrageous, very strange. And then also when it comes to some of the social media accounts, you see elements of foreign involvement in some of these accounts. And all these things are things, some of the traits that when you see, you realize they are red flags, because if there is a very, very local issue, very, very local issues, for instance, if Ghana's debate about whether or not district assembly elections should be done on partisan basis, these are very local issues. If you find a particular account, Facebook page or Facebook group that has foreign elements that is actively contributing to this and very strongly campaigning for a particular stand in the debate, it's a red flag, or it's one of the things that you see that raises alarm that you want to further investigate. So let's, after the long talk, let's go into today's presentation. So if you have some of these things you can do on your mobile phone, some you would need a laptop to be able to do them. So the tools for investigating influence operations. So there are different tools that we'll be using. And then, like I said earlier, I'll be focusing on 3 case studies, which I believe should be just based on very common examples that we can use to identify some of these situations and then how to deal with them. So the first case study that we'll be looking at is the case study where we are looking at a Facebook page or a Facebook group that is promoting or presenting counter local ideologies, views, or debates on a particular issue. And here I state that some of these things, when they come to you, if I have a reasonable suspicion that a particular page is looks suspicious in a way that is countering very local ideologies or making views and certain debates on a particular issue, some of the things that I would immediately want to check is the date the page was created, and you check whether the details of other related pages, which other page is this primary page related to. And then I'll look at the history of the page that you are investigating. You look at the moderators, try to understand do a bit of investigation about who the moderators or the page administrators are. And then thankfully, through some very simple Facebook features, you're able to identify the location of the moderators, which is very important. The first one with the dates, the reason why this is important is because based on very common information or very common research, we find out that if there is about to be a major issue that is going to be discussed in the country or a particular location, people create fresh Facebook pages to push a particular agenda. And so if the Facebook page is very, very new and is pushing that particular campaign, well, it says something. It can give the impression or the idea that this particular page was created specifically for this campaign. And so at the end of the campaign, the page is gone. That is some useful information that it will require further information to unravel further. Checking related pages is also important. So if there is the primary page is related to a very known, another known page. So let's say there is this debate about LGBT rights in Ghana, and then there is a page that has been created, and you find this page that is putting out information that the information the page is putting out does not clearly state where this page is actually aligned towards. If you check the pages that are related to this one that you are investigating, you're able to see certain things in common. For instance, you may see trends like the administrator of this new page you are investigating is also the administrator of a very known anti-LGBT page. That is a very useful information that you can pick up. And so based on that, you are able to know the orientation of this new page that you are investigating. The page history is also very useful. In the page history, you can find information like, has this page been, has the name of this page been changed, for instance? And this is very important because, again, a very common instances that we found is that we find out that when people want to, people create pages, sometimes they create pages based on a particular idea that they know would actually sell or help them get a lot of followers. So if I create a page today, people create catfish accounts. So if somebody wants to run a campaign against against electing local leaders or MMDCs on partisan basis, if somebody wants to run a campaign against that, the person can decide to create a Facebook page and name it after a very popular Ghanaian celebrity and pretend to be that celebrity for a period of maybe a few months or a few weeks just to grow the page. And then immediately the person gets a lot of likes on the page that he knows that, okay, this number is a very good number. Then the person decides to change the name of the page into this new campaign that he's running. And so it kind of traps those of you who have liked the page, because initially you thought the page was for Sarkodie fans. So you came to like the page. Then all of a sudden, the page name has been changed into Free Jonas Campaign. So the person has done that. So the page history is able to tell you that. So you know that, okay, this particular person has actually kind of, quote unquote, fooled people into liking the page so that they can influence the people to amplify whatever campaign they are pushing. Page administrators, moderators, also very important. Fortunately, all these things are very open to public groups, so you can easily see these things. So if the page administrator is a very known person who has been campaigning for a particular subject, you are able to tell. And so you know that, okay, because this page is actually moderated or the administrator is so and so, I'm able to know that, okay, the person, based on some of the public comments he has made on his personal biases, it means that this is what this page is about. And lastly, allocation of moderators, also very important. And like I said, that sometimes some of the campaigns are from external sources, it's from outside the country. And so if there's a page that is talking about that is talking about an issue as local as the selection of MMDCs on a partisan basis, if the moderators of the page, may say there are 5 administrators on the page and all of them are based in a different country other than Ghana, it's also a red flag, because I mean, of course, they can be Ghanaians living outside, but in some cases, it's very suspicious and a red flag is very, I would say, very, very profound. that why would this particular minute local issue, why should the administrators of this page be based in a different country other than the country in which the campaign is supposed to be run? So I would just share my screen to go on Facebook to see how we can easily check some of these things as I mentioned. So we'll do that on Facebook, and it's very common. Anyone can do it. This can also be done on your mobile phone if you want to investigate, look into some of these common things that come up. Of course, there are certain complex situations that may arise that need advanced tools for some of these things. But then these are some of the common things that you can do to stay safe, understand that this is a campaign that you shouldn't maybe get involved in, and things like that. So I'll just switch my screen to my browser where we can do a demonstration of what I just talked about. So this is my Facebook page. I'm not sure, is it? Florence, has the screen changed? I just want to be sure that my browser is.
It has changed. It has changed.
Okay, great. All right. So this is my Facebook page. So if I want to check out, there's a suspicious page I've seen, that is Jonas Nyabo Facebook page. Let me just visit the page, go into the page and then see what we can find. So this is the page. You would navigate to the about section of the page. So after navigating to the about section, it's the same process if you are doing it on your phone as well. So you open the Facebook page. You can use the search session. You can use the search section. After you select the page, then you go to the about section. Let's give it a few seconds to load. Okay. So this is my Facebook page. If you're not following, you can follow the Facebook page though. It's Jonas Nyabo. And then you go to the about section of the page. And then you come to page transparency. So at page transparency, you're able to find a lot of these useful information that I shared. All these ones that I talked about possible name change, date of creation of this particular page is very useful. So page transparency, when you move to page transparency, the immediate thing you can see is the date the page was created. So assuming this page was a page that is talking about a particular campaign, and then the page was created on let's say a day before the campaign started or a day before that major initiative, it could be useful for you to determine whether this page has been created purposely for this campaign or it's actually something that has been existed for all this while. Sometimes if we are investigating about personalities, and this goes to people who may not be, this may not be related, but in cases where you are looking out for instances of business pages that scam people, or that supposedly say they are selling something, a product, so make part payment, and then after making part payment, so you can get your item, you don't get it. If you have a popular brand like okay, so let's just say there's a shop, a very popular shop in Ghana called Pep Shop. It's a supermarket where you buy products, and we know Pep Shop is very, very popular. It's been in Ghana for 20 years. And then you see a Facebook page that with the name Pep Shop. The name is still Pep Shop anyway, but the page was created in 2022 October, and they are running like 50% discounts. That's a red flag, because for a popular shop, I mean, you wouldn't expect it to be creating their Facebook page now. They will definitely most likely have a Facebook page that have been existing for years now. If you see a Facebook page that the name is President Akufo-Addo, you should expect that the president of Ghana should have a Facebook page dating like so many years now. So if you see a President Akufo-Addo Facebook page that is created on October 2022 and is saying that donate money to this mobile money to support my presidential campaign, you should know that based on the information you are finding on the date, you should see that this is actually a red flag because you are not expecting the president to now have a Facebook page. So that's for a useful information for the date. So let's look at the other options that, or the other information that can come out from this. So if I go to see all, this thankfully to, thanks to Facebook, this transparency, page transparency tool is very useful to see some of these very important details that I shared previously. You're able to realize that when the date was created and then where it is being managed from. I've explained why this is important. So in my case, I have 3 people that are managing my Facebook page who are all based in Ghana. So you will not have anything, at least there's like a green flag, because if I'm a journalist based in Ghana, all those who are managing my page, 3 accounts are all based in Ghana. So this is very useful. Let's check out, let me check out the organization I'm a lead trainer for, iGeno Africa Facebook page. So I'm going to do the, I'm going to use the same process, go to the about session and then go to page transparency and then see all. So as you can see, date was created in 2015. Is being managed by 5 people. So 4 in Ghana and then 1 in Morocco. 1 in Morocco. So the executive director or the founder of the organization is currently based in Morocco. And so that is displayed here. So that's a very important feature. So you're able to tell where those managing the pages are coming from. This page is not running ads. So this is very useful. In cases where we realize that people are actually running active campaigns to like the Facebook page, you're able to get this information here. If there was an active ad, you could have gone into that to see how much I have actually spent to promote the Facebook page or to promote a post on the Facebook page. So I'm sure that covers the information for Facebook. So the primary locations of where pages are managed. Let me switch back to the presentation so we can proceed to the next case study. So what I just shared, we know the page, the date the page was created, the locations where the page administrators are located. So it includes whether the person is an editor, an administrator, or a comment, something like all those who have different levels of management roles on the page is important. And then whether the page's name has been changed. So in the 2 case examples that I showed you, the page name hasn't been changed. In some cases, you will see that the page name has been changed. And then you can also see whether some people actually merge 2 groups. So they have group A, group B, but they merge it together. So you're able to see that also using the page transparency tool. And then whether a confirmed business or organization has been granted access to manage the page. So for instance, if Mobile Web Ghana is a group of companies, but it has a subsidiary, maybe Mobile Web Ghana Training, they have a Facebook page, and there is also Mobile Web Ghana headquarters. When you use the page transparency tool, you can see that, okay, Mobile Web Training Ghana is there. It has 3 administrators, but then it is actually managed by the mother organization, which is Mobile Web Ghana group of companies. So the page transparency tool, you will find all these different things there. And based on what you are looking for, what you are investigating, you get to understand. The second case study will be focused on Twitter. So Twitter, that's where you find a lot of the bots and then a lot of bots. So in the case of Twitter, we'll be looking more at bots, the bot score of certain accounts. We'll be looking at the accounts, the networks of the accounts. The networks, the bot, I've already explained that, but the networks is important because oftentimes when people are running campaigns on Twitter, it doesn't rely on one person. So you either see things like, why is it that within this particular 4 particular accounts, anytime this person tweets, the 2 others automatically retweet. And anytime one is tweeting, they mention the 2 other in the accounts. All these things are things that you're able to use to identify a network in operating when it comes to disinformation campaigns. And also account history, looking back to what the person used to talk about and what the person is talking about now. So there's a report I did recently. So all these examples are evident because the report focused a lot on Twitter. I'll be discussing that. So let's look at one of the tools that we'll be using to determine the bot score of an account. And again, I would say that the disclaimer here is that whatever you are going to find is not a total indication that this is a bad thing, but it only gives you a fair idea of something that you can base on. It's an additional information that you can base on how you're. So coming to Twitter, so you can log into your Twitter account. So this is my Twitter account at jnyabo on Twitter. So if you are not following, you can also do well to follow my Twitter account, verified Twitter account. So one of the tools that we use to determine if an account is a bot account or not is a botometer. It's an easy to use tool. So you can type botometer in Google or any of the search engines you are using. I'm sure it will typically be the first result that comes in, but the URL is botometer.osome.iu.edu. So this is actually built, I think, by researchers at the, I think, Indiana State in the US. They built this particular tool. So what the botometer tool does is that it gives us the bot level score of a particular account. So you're able to determine whether this account is a bot account or not. So when you are doing your investigations and you come across a particular account, that is maybe, for me, some of the things you look out for is that this account is tweeting too much. This account is tweeting a particular hashtag a lot. Or this particular account is, like anything I post, this particular account is retweeting. You can, it can be a cause or a premise for investigation. So in this case, let me just try my Twitter account again. So my account is jnyabo. So I put in my Twitter account at jnyabo, and then I do check user. So you just give it a few seconds, let it load, and then tell you the results of your account. So it's still loading. You give it a few seconds. So in determining what a bot account is, there are different metrics that it uses. So in my case, it has given me 0.2/5. So the total score is 5. So as you can see, when you get to 5, that you'll be in the red zone. So that would be like most likely this account is a bot account. Mine is a 0.2, which is human, a human account. So you can click for details. So the breakdown here is, it talks about echo chamber. So for it, echo chamber talked about the kind of space that my account works in. So the what kind of content do I share? Do I share content within a particular field? So you realize that I share and I either deleting, retweeting. I do a lot about journalism. So it's fine that I am operating within the journalism echo chamber. That's 1.6, which is still fairly okay. It's still humanly okay. And then the number of fake followers for this particular platform, Botometer platform. When it talks of fake followers, it is talking about accounts that are following your page, but they are not human accounts. They are more like bot accounts that are following you. So my level is 0.4, which is okay. And then the other metrics, because they are 0.0, I'll skip that. And then also the language is important. And then the majority of the language I'm tweeting in is also important. So you can, Florence, can you volunteer your handle so we can check?
Yes, my personal handle is Florence Topher, at Florence Topher.
Okay, Florence.
You can also use TOFFA.
TOFFA. Okay.
Yes.
So let's check out Florence, who is hosting us. Let's see if she's human or a bot. Okay. So we give it a few seconds. So just be mindful of the metrics that, okay, Florence, oh, yours is higher than mine. I'm sure maybe it is looking at things like you retweet a lot. Okay, echo chamber. Look, that means assessing the kind of things that you very likely post about around the same particular topic. You share, retweet within a particular topic. The number of fake follower accounts that are bots that are following your account that are not real humans, 0.8, which is still within the human zone, and then the other metrics. So yours is also very fairly okay, which is fine. So you can also do that for your personal handle to sometimes to guide the way you post. And other metrics look at things like how often does this person post. So even in this particular one, if I want to look at details to do further analysis of my profile, I'll click on my profile here, and then it gives me further insights about my page. No, let me come this way, details. All right. So as you can see, my confirmed profile, my bio, number of my followers, number of my tweets. And now this is a very useful statistic here. It shows you the tweet by the day. And this is also very important. In an investigation I did, the accounts were tweeting 247. There was no sleeping time. And as you can see from my details here, at least you realize that between typically between 12 midnight and 5 a.m., my activity is very low. So it shows that at least it's human. So bot accounts will typically not sleep. So if you are doing an account that is heavily, like a seriously bot account, you will find out that all the metrics are very high throughout. Then you can also see the number of the days of the week that I'm very active on Twitter. And this is based on my last 200 tweets, by the way. So based on the last 200 tweets,
I don't know if I'm the only person, but it looks like Jonas is.
Okay, am I audible? So as you can see from mine, Saturday is the most active of them. So that's it for the botometer. Very useful, the number of tweets per day, and of course the username as well. So I'm talking about the username because in this particular investigation I did, very often people who want to run fake accounts or usernames that are true accounts or things like that, they don't have time to actually do their profile. So like my Twitter handle, where my username is J Nyabo, as you can see here, very like customized, and so it's very typical. Like in this particular investigation I did, we'll not have time, so you see things like this, very generic names with a lot of numbers on them. You see them with a lot of numbers on them. Let me just try and put this in the botometer and see what will come out with. But that is one of the ways. So for those of you who have usernames like this, I would generally advise that you actually change it to reflect your true username so that you are not flagged as a bot account. So let's just try and run this particular profile and see. So this was captured in one of my investigations. So as you can see here, the score is very, very high. It's be above average, 2.8 out of 5. So echo chamber fake follower is 0.2. The spammer, other metrics. So as you can see, it's very high. So I told you, as it was captured in my investigation. So in my investigation, for all the accounts that I stated, I did a breakdown of their bot indicators, the percentage levels, which is very important. And let me go back to the presentation. I'm sure that would be some useful information for the Twitter part. But let me talk about the history as well, using the case study of the reports that I talked about. So in that particular research, I found out that an account like this one, which I identified in the campaign, even though it had in its bio a Ghana flag, talking about, and by the way, this campaign, this investigation was actually looking at people who were campaigning against vaccination in Ghana. And so this particular account had Ghana flag in the bio, was tweeting a lot about Ghana and things like that. And this campaign was done in December 2021 in Ghana. But prior to the start of the campaign, it was tweeting a lot about tweeting at Nigerian politicians, talking about Nigerians, which didn't sound like it was originally a Ghanaian account, because it was tweeting a lot in very local Nigerian language before the start of the Ghanaian campaign in December 2021. It switched to talking about Ghanaian issues. So that is one of the things you can look at. And that is what I mean by looking at the page history. You can do that by using the advanced search feature on Twitter, which is also another thing for another presentation. The last thing I'll look at is websites. So websites are important because sometimes in running some of these campaigns, they try to rely on websites to create the impression that this what we are fighting for. We actually have the credible support of particular websites. So in websites, some of the things you look out for, the common things are the date the website was created, and also you want to know whether the website is active or not. How often are they posting stories? Are they only posting things that resonate with the campaign, or they have other general stories that are also in there? Excuse me. And then you also want to look out whether these websites have affiliates. Are there other websites that are connected to this particular website? Like I said, don't forget, we are talking of campaigns, and so it's not done by a single outlet or a single individual. You often see this, that in the stories that they put out there, they mention other websites, which will draw people to click on that website and then go and read more on those other websites. Then the last one is looking at, they post very insightful things, and then at the end, they delete it after causing the chaos or the commotion. They delete the post. And so when you go back to the website, you are able to find the initial post that they did that started the confusion or the inciting of people. So I'll introduce you in that case how we'll be able to look at these things. Sorry, I think the sharing just stopped. Let me just go back to it. Excuse me. Okay. I'm just trying to share the screen again. So if you have questions, you can leave it in the chat box, and then I'll address it as I wrap up. So this last one,
there are questions, and we'll take them at the end.
Yes. So the tool that I'll be talking about will tell us the date this website was created, which is important because people create websites just for a particular campaign, and after that they close down the website. So if there is if I know Ghana is launching something tomorrow, national ID tomorrow, and people are against it, and they can decide to create a website today. In the case study that I talked about, the COVID-19 vaccination investigative report that I did. The campaign started on December 15. That was when they all mobilized to do the campaign. But then they did it from 15, 16, 17. If you go identified in the campaign, say the campaign ended in 2018 December, they've not tweeted again. So that is one of the ways I'm able to find out. So the metrics for the data, you can see that from December 13, the whole campaign peaked, and then since then it's died down. They've not talked about it again. So that's one of the ways that you can look at it based on activity point of view. Let me introduce you to this one when you want to do website analysis. And these are all basic tools, and this is very free that you can use if you want to, depending on what you're looking for. This is called the Who-is-to tool. So it's simply, the address is who.is, so who.is. So essentially it helps in so many ways, depending on what you are looking for. But based on the 4 things that I talked about, we want to investigate and know when this particular website was created and things like that. So we want to use my website here, jonasnyabo.com, investigate when my website, I created my website. I may have posted some, you want to know whether, did I create this website because I wanted to run a campaign and just leave? So if you go to who.is.com, you put in the website address, that is jonasnyabo.com, then you run a search. Let me say that there are so many tools that you can use for this particular investigation, but this is just one of it. So the result, as we have here, you can see that, of course, I won't hide it. So this domain name was registered on namecheap.com incorporated. And then the date, as I talked about here, you realize that the date was, I first registered this domain on 19th August 2020. So I registered it first on 19th August and I last renewed it, I think in August. And so until next year, 2023. This information is important, like I said, based on how important the dates are. And you can glean other information. Sometimes you can get, oftentimes we hide these details, but for some websites, when people are not security cautious, sometimes you are able to see the name of the person who registered it and the phone number and the country in which the person registered this address. So that's how important this particular tool is. I haven't used a particular website. I just want to protect other people's websites, so I don't want to use any other website to experiment this. But you can use any other website to do with to just experiment and try and hands on this if you want to try out when the website was created. If you want to see how active or not the website is, of course, also you can just go through their publications and see whether, when was the last time they posted, how often do they publish stories and things like that. That is a manual way of checking it. And also looking out for affiliates. So if you open publications on the website, look in and see the website or the links that they are referencing to. All these things, you can also check it manually. The last one is the deleted post. So like I said, people can decide to post very sensitive material and then they disappear after the thing has caused confusion, after it has gone viral and people are acting on it. There is a very major global geopolitics issue, something like Russia-Ukraine war, and the website posts very controversial statements. After the thing has gone viral, people are fighting over it. They go to delete the story. And so when somebody comes back and say, oh, no, I'm doing this because I saw it on this particular website. When you go on the website, you don't see it there. So like I'm sure some of you may already been exposed to, we have the Wayback Machine, which we've talked about when it comes to investigating or when it comes to simply fact checking. So the Wayback Machine, the address is archive.org, archive.org. So what you do is you copy the URL or the address of the website, or sometimes if it's a particular story, you want to, the link of a particular story, you have to get the particular link of the story and then put it in the tool, just press enter to run a search, and then just give it a few seconds to load. So in this case, it is telling you that so what archive.org or this Wayback Machine does is that over time, or very often, it takes like a snapshot of how a website looks like. So in my case, it has taken 8 snapshots of how my website looked like April 14 to March 2022. So I want to see how my website looked like in 2020. So I'll click on the year, and then it takes me back. It tells me the exact date on which different snapshots or pictures were taken. So as you can see, 13th June, 14th July, and things. So I want to see how did my homepage look like on 13th June 2020. So I click on this, and then it shows me how it looks like. So you would see that on my website currently on the homepage, this is how the homepage looks like. This is how the homepage looks like. But then I am checking how this tool is showing me how it looked like on the 13th of June 2020. So based on that, it's showing me this is what I had on my front page on 13th June 2020. So assuming that this particular report, I had deleted it. If I had deleted it and maybe you try to access it on my current website, you are not finding it. If you use the Wayback Machine and then you see that this is how my website, and you click on this particular link, this Wayback Machine will still be able to retrieve it will be able to retrieve this particular content. Let's give it a few seconds. So it has been able to retrieve this particular content, even though it may have been deleted on the website as it is now. So it's very useful, sometimes not just for investigation, but in case you have a website, you lost it, and then maybe you have something, a very important information you want to retrieve, you can try it out. The caveat is that you may not find exactly what you're looking for because it doesn't take the snapshots all the time. So as you can see, in 2019, it didn't capture anything from my website, but in 2021, it didn't capture anything, but in 2020 it did, and then 2022 it did. So those are the very simple, simple tips or tricks that you can use in investigating disinformation campaigns. Like I said, all these things that I shared can only give you what the red flags that will give you the chance to think about it and then do your own investigations and then come to a conclusion whether or not this is a disinformation campaign or this is actually it's not a campaign, it's just people talking about their individual things. So at this point, I'll stop and take questions.
Thank you very much.
Yes, so thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We are almost over time, and we have some few questions on on YouTube. And the first person, I will just go straight to the point because we don't have much time. And so the first question is from Linda, and Linda wants to know if when I identify anything suspicious on a Facebook page or a website of a business or of an organization, what steps can I take to notify the founders or the team in that organization? And I'll just how do you call it? Ask all Linda's question. And the second question from Linda: how can I gather my evidence to buttress my suspicion to help me? That's a question from Linda.
Okay, thank you, Linda. So straight to it. So your second question, all these different tools that I talked about, there are different ways that you can, these are all different evidences that you are gathering. So in the case of this investigation I did, I gathered different evidence, tried to look at the hashtag that the people were using, how common, how popular was the hashtag, how many people were tweeting about it, and are they connected? And I found out that, okay, this particular a set of maybe 5 different group of people, as you can see, my first evidence was that they just picked on this day. It was a campaign, one-off campaign. And then I also realized that this was a group of about, say, let's say all these people gathered together and they were retweeting among each other, and they were sharing each other's tweets. So that's also another evidence. Then I use the botometer to check, and I realized that, okay, some of the accounts were also bot accounts. So all these things are different steps or different processes that helps you build a complete case. So that's why I said you don't use just one point to say, okay, oh, because it's a bot account, it's a campaign. You have to use different means to come to a conclusion that it's a bot account. Secondly, if you see a Facebook page that is kind of impersonating another page, I think you should, as a good digital citizen, just report the page to Facebook so that Facebook takes action against the page, especially if you realize that the page is a false or a fake page. That's what you should do. If it's a page that is promoting something that will cause confusion, I think Facebook also allows you to report when people are making posts that will incite violence against others and things like that. So that's also important in terms of reporting. So I think that will be it for Linda's question.
Okay, and then I have a question from James Roberts, and interesting findings. How about Instagram? You didn't talk about Instagram much, but there are a lot of people in Ghana or in other places that are on Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram is very, very big. Oftentimes, Instagram, yes, there are tools also for Instagram. So maybe, I don't know, some other time we can talk about Instagram, but Instagram is very, very important. Those that I've talked about now, very often what I realize is that campaigns, very few campaigns will stay on one platform. Very often they start on one platform, they carry to another, then and Instagram also happens like that. Unfortunately, somehow because Instagram works a lot of pictures and videos, text-based campaigns don't often get there. Just pictures and videos and things like that. But yes, Instagram is very important, and there are tools also for investigating things on Instagram.
Okay, beautiful. Our last question, how can I repair any damages caused by influence operations? That's our last question for today.
Right. How to repair the damages? Are you a victim, or maybe you have run a campaign and you are trying to repair the damage? I'm not too sure, but I think
A victim.
okay. I think that at the end of the day, if you realize that maybe you shared particular hashtag that has been part of a campaign and things, and you realize it wasn't right, you can just go back and delete it. If you are your Twitter level activity is too high, you realize maybe you have a lot of bot accounts following you. I think you can just block accounts. You can, those kind of things are tools that you can use. Report account as well as spam account, so that you your account shows like you're a real human. So I think that those are the things that you can do. But just on social media, just be yourself. Ultimately, that's the advice. If you are yourself, I mean, you will not have any of this issue. And also, though, for those who are, I'm just imagining if you're an influencer, or if you're a celebrity, or if you're a journalist, the question, if what's the name, James? If you're an influencer and somebody comes and say, participate, help me participate in this campaign, or let people tweet this hashtag and give them money in return and things like that, you should also do your background check and see whether what the motive behind this campaign is before you decide that, oh, I want to jump in and then help. Because of course you are human, you don't have any evil intention. But at the end of the day, you may be a target, or you may be recruited into it without knowing that you are getting into something like that. Your mic is.
Yes. Thank you very much, Jonas, for these great answers you've given to us. And also thank you for educating us on some of the tools we can use to investigate influence operation. It's been a wonderful session. And before we close, I want to introduce you to a wonderful, amazing online resource that you would find very helpful. And it is the EE Library USA. The EE Library USA is a state-of-the-art premium electronic databases that includes digital newspapers, magazines, journals, videos, and dissertations. You can log on to go online, and you find this very useful. Usually this resources is available in person, but with the pandemic, you can go and access it online. Please find the link in the chat box and sign up for it. This program was brought to you by US Embassy Ghana, American Corner Agbogba, and Mobile Web Ghana. And it's great to have you here, and until we meet another time, please observe all the safety protocols. Follow us on YouTube, US Embassy Ghana, for more amazing virtual program. And thank you very much. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you, Jonas, for this session. Bye-bye.